Hey everybody. Um, Bad news. My brother is in the hospital, just finishing up. We're maybe just beginning his recovery from surgery from a not a quadruple, but a quintuple bypass heart surgery, open heart surgery. So for all y'all to pray, I appreciate it. Otherwise, please just send him your most positive energy that you can. His name is Steve, and I love him. And Steve and I lost contact when I was a teenager, and we didn't get back in touch until this last December. It's really, and since we've been in near constant contact. It's been a really, for me, a wonderful experience. But how we got into contact is kind of funny, and I wanted to share that with you. I suffer from a chronic illness, and I was in the hospital. I had undergone a treatment for this illness, and I was in the hospital for like my first follow-up post-treatment. They were checking my IV, my vitals and whatnot, and giving me IV fluids as necessary, medications as necessary. It was a pretty serious procedure. In fact, they kept referring to it as a bone marrow transplant. That's not what it was technically, but it was on the same scale. Anyway, so I'm in the hospital post-treatment, just me and my buddy, a friend of mine, and a nurse who's kind of following me around through my procedure, because it's not a common procedure. So basically, I had a liaison with to be constantly, so she was there too. And so the nurse comes in, and I hadn't met her before, and we started talking. And this was before my teeth fell out. So I considered myself not unattractive. And I love to flirt with nurses, especially when they're super young and it ain't going nowhere, because she could be my granddaughter. So it was an honest, innocent flirtation. So I said, "Hey, what's your name?" She told me her name, and I go, "Oh, really? Where are you from?" She tells me she's from Bisbee. And I said, "Bisbee?" And I had just like coincidentally within the previous couple of weeks looked up the stats on Bisbee, and the population was like 500. And for her to have this specific last name, I knew she was a relative of my former stepfather. So I said, "So you mean to tell me that your grandfather, his name was such and such, and he worked at such a place, and he died of a massive heart attack this year or that, and he had 3 kids, and I named them, and so I'm guessing you're one of those kids' kid, so that would make you his grandkid." And she goes, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm your uncle." And I told her, I said, "Your grandfather was married to my mother, and so your dad, your parent, and one of your parents and his or their siblings are my step siblings, and so that makes you my step niece." And she goes, "I'll be right back." And she comes back in about 5 minutes. She goes, "My dad's gonna call you. He hasn't seen you in 50 years. I said, "Yeah, that's about right. 45, 50 years. So, and then me and him got in touch, man. We've been in touch constantly. In fact, last weekend we went camping together. And so I was really shocked when I got an email or a text from Vic, the nurse, saying, "Hey, Dad's in the hospital, and they're looking at a open heart surgery immediately." I'm like, "What's going on?" And so man, I felt like a moron. I felt like a selfish bastard for not having recognized that there might be something wrong with him when we were camping last weekend. But he said he went out for a walk, like a 3-mile walk, and he said like at some point during this walk, his heart started tingling and something else. I think he had a headache or something, I'm not sure. But I remember he said his heart was tickling in his chest, tickling in his chest. So anyway, I just got a report like very shortly ago that he's out of surgery, and it went well, and he's got a strong heart. Everything looks good, so I'm really hopeful. In fact, our plan is that I'm moving in with him in December, so which I have every hope and prayer that's what happens. So keep in my mind, and thank you for that, and y'all have a good day. Bye.